Okay, so we're finishing up this section of Galatians 1 and 2 for this week. And I ended up writing this kind of a summary of what Paul is saying to Peter. So I'm going to read what I wrote because it summarizes a little bit in the vernacular that we're used to, again, going by our culture and understanding. So Paul is right now pulling intellectual rank over Peter. And he tells Peter, you observe Jewish dietary laws most of your life without exception. So after your revelation, you ate with the Gentiles their foods, since you're insisting that if you ate these food that was only kosher, it would impede that communication of the gospel to the Gentiles. But now, with this legalistic people group that's coming in to scrutinize you, you go through this charade of only eating kosher with the Jews, which that's not really what you're doing. So why? Not for a holy motive. You can't ride the fence. Your past experience and behavior prove you agree with me, Peter. So stop this hypocrisy. They don't need to live like Jews. You know it. They are to know it, and the Jews need to know it too. But not only was he being a hypocrite, he began to make the Gentiles live like the Jews. So he was pushing the legalistic teaching. So a Jew may break the Torah law at times for the sake of Jewish-Gentile fellowship. And that's what was going on here. So Paul is saying there's no racism in God's kingdom. And most of the time when Paul writes law here, he's meaning legalism, because again, he's kind of pioneering this term. So it was a different word that kind of lacks the full understanding of that expression that we use now. We understand it more as legalism. So Paul is that pioneer for it. Anything else, anything less than the faith in Jesus falls short. So look at Romans 3:19 through 26. Now we know that whatever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be silenced and the whole world held accountable to God. Therefore, no one will be declared righteous in his sight by observing the law. Rather, through the law, we become conscious of sin. So we understand our need for salvation through the law. That's the law is important because we understand our need for a Savior. And then Jesus is our Savior. And then we have faith to believe in him. Now, the law doesn't mean that we keep trying to do all these things, because anything less than faith in Jesus Christ it falls short. You will never be able to measure up, because the law does kill. That's the point of it. So last thought here is Judaizers applied this label of sinners not just to disobeying the law, but to those who did not submit to their system. What is truly the Torah, the law, is faithfulness, not legalism. So then Paul is saying, when I realized this, that I was a transgressor of the real law, when I allowed the legalism to have power over me, then I destroyed that legalistic system that was in me, because it became about it became idolatry, it became pride. It was about myself and about idolizing that legalism, and that was sin. And that's what he's saying is, I became a transgressor. I became sinful because I became that same person that you're starting to become. I became that person. That's why I can say this. I came from a legalistic background, and I killed because of it, and I killed the people of God. So, all right, so we wrap up that chapter. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, I don't know if I'll be diving into the next chapter next week, or if we'll take a break, since I'm going to be heading on a trip. But if I do, I hope that'll give you some time to kind of catch up any parts that you've missed, and or go back and review if you need to. There's some areas that you feel like you need to kind of rehash and take in again. So have a great weekend and a great week.